Welcome back, everyone. Our following guest is Gentiana Curculescu, IT Area Lead of Global Data Services at ING Tech Romania. She manages Biz DevOps teams who are responsible for translating the ING global data strategy and data management architectural requirements into technology choices and services. Her session, Hybrid Cloud Data Platform as a Service, aims at offering answers for a couple of stimulating questions such as how to leverage data fabric capabilities to orchestrate a scattered data landscape, or how to benefit from a run anywhere, any cloud infrastructure, while also leaving us with a better grasp of the ways available to improve agility in responding to business demands. Welcome, Gentiana, actually here on stage.
Thank you for the introduction. I'm Gentiana Curculescu. I'm the IT Area Lead of Global Data Services in ING Tech. I've been working with data for several years now, working for and building and managing data warehouses, data lakes, data services. Yet, since I became a mom, I didn't realize the power of information and connections. I have a toddler that barely speaks 2% of an adult vocabulary, yet we understand each other remarkably well. How can it happen? I think she uses a word to express more things than I could have ever thought of. And the way she manages to create context around the word, it made me curious on the underlying processes. Children learn by gaining connections, and they build connections by gaining an understanding of how things work and how they are related. As a parent, you can, of course, accelerate the learning process by helping them see connections, so you can also point out connections they may not have noticed before, and also give constant feedback on their thinking. Companies have similar challenges to address. So the increasingly complex data landscape that needs to be managed to ensure consistency in how to govern that amount of data, and of course be able to react quickly to new requirements. And why is it important to address these challenges? What are we trying to solve today? First, let's take a look at the last 50 years. In the 70s, we had difficulties in scaling the computing power. In the 90s, the issue was network and connectivity. And nowadays, we're trying to fill the gap of knowledge. This is also today's main topic, how to help our company grow its knowledge and improve business agility by leveraging data fabric capabilities and using a hybrid cloud infrastructure. Now I invite you all to imagine that we play a game, and we are inside a maze that is constantly changing and growing its shape. And we have a task as a team, and this is very important, as a team, to find related items and collect enough valuable objects that are scattered in this maze in due amount of time in order to stay in the game. What should be our approach? This is actually not far from what a data engineer needs to do, right? He has to find the data he needs in a very scattered and most probably ungoverned and rapidly changing environment, process the data until it becomes available with the aim to help the company stay in the game. Now, coming back to the game, what would you do if someone gives you a ladder? One approach, of course, is to focus on one convenient object and take it and get out of the maze. In the data user scenario, things would look like this. It might seem fast, but with the new requirements, you have to do it all over again. So in fact, on the long run, the oversimplification generates more chaos than value. Now, knowing that, what would you do the second time someone gives you a ladder? We can, as a team, create and maintain a maze map, connect the related items, and simplify the maze where applicable. There are a lot of course, there is a lot of effort in doing this, and the results might not be might not be visible immediately. But in the end, you'll have a comprehensive view of your data business and IT landscape, and you're able to better orchestrate and generate utmost value. There is a concept that stresses the importance of having this understanding and a unification of your data and IT landscape. Of course, it's a logical one, an abstract layer, and it's called data fabric. The term was coined by NetApp in 2016, and the interest in the concept grew since then. I've been learning during these years working in IT that each concept needs to be further tailored in order to, well, make it fit for purpose. And you just have to understand the core elements and not deviate from its scope, but you need to tailor it. And I found the data fabric a bit more abstract. So what is it about? It's definitely rather a design concept than just a platform, but that doesn't mean you can't use the platform like a big data platform or appropriate software to implement the design. It's also a new architecture pattern, but that doesn't mean it has to replace traditional data management architectures. How I see it is more like a wrapper. And it definitely requires constant effort because a company's data and IT landscape, we all know, is like a living organism. Now, these are the key components of the data fabric, and I will walk you through them bottom up so we can easily relate to the picture on the right. And this picture is actually an Nextcloud data fabric architecture, but I found it really useful to have some visuals, and yeah, I personally liked the layering. At the bottom, we have the hybrid cloud. After that, we have the universal bidirectional connector architecture that supports the distributed and heterogeneous environments. We also have a single data catalog that represents all metadata types, so everything, also from logs, and it's connected through, or it's represented through a connected knowledge graph. We also have continuous metadata intelligence based on active metadata and artificial intelligence, and further, this layer is used to automate the data orchestration and data integration. If you think of the parent and the child, this is like the parent giving constant feedback on his child's thinking, and also really pointing out new connections. Then we have the federated data governance and data capabilities. And last but not least, the ecosystem of data delivery technologies and services. There is an orange layer. Here, Nextcloud also represents a layer of data as a product, or data that is containerized, but I won't focus on this today. And similar to knitting, which is the method by which yarn is manipulated to create a fabric, the data fabric may be done by hand or with, using appropriate software. And definitely a data fabric is not a single solution. There are already several vendors when it comes to data fabric, like SAP with the SAP Data Intelligence, Atlan, IBM with the Cloud Pack for Data, Sinchi with the DataWare platform, and these are just some of the most popular ones. And it's really worth investigating what suits you best, because they have a diverse offering, and their products, their services might be at different level of maturity, and you might need something for your company. So please investigate before to choose one. And we will discuss in a couple of minutes how ING chose a partner for building its data fabric. Compared to the knitting, the data fabric is the method, so it's the knitting process, and also the end result. We don't have two different words. And the data fabric software is the knitting machine. Probably you've heard it before, but I like it, so I will reiterate it. ING has the ambition to be seen as a tech company with a banking license. And though we don't have the freedom of neobanks, for example, to pick and choose the technology, we try to keep up with the technology trends, and we also have this customer-oriented view. Let's take a look at how we plan to modernize our data and IT landscape. So we defined our data strategy that aims to help ING with the decision-making process, but also accelerate the digital transformation. For now, our focus is on data democratization, simplification, and modernization of the IT landscape, including expanding capabilities to public cloud. And yeah, to identify the right tooling and also define your processes and governance best practices takes a lot of time. But to ensure the adoption of those, well, I can tell you it's a journey. And our mission is not done, so you always have to scale your solution. The target is to be able to govern and use intelligently all ING data and exploit the power of an enterprise data fabric. This is only a visual representation of our data strategy, and you can imagine it made a lot of sense for engineers, architects, business people. Yeah, therefore, we jumped to design and agreed on priorities. So what do we have to implement? These are some of the milestones. We started with a hybrid cloud data platform and we want this palette of cutting-edge technologies with automation, with AI capabilities, yeah, and this should be the core of the data fabric. And also extend our enterprise data catalog and the data model, making use of accelerators from the market, like IBM provides the Knowledge Accelerator. This is like an out-of-the-box vocabulary. Let me tell you a story. I think most companies have this problem that they've built a data lake and they didn't govern it correctly, so it can easily become a swamp. In ING, maybe because we are a bank, don't know, we have the opposite problem. So we've built a data lake, but we governed so much the landscape that we didn't manage at least to ingest and govern all the data properly. This is why in this data strategy, we'll also focus in defining differential data governance. And it's really important, it's not just for ING, it's important to understand that having differential levels, or how you want to call them, of data governance can make a difference in how you manage your data, and also how easy it is then to consume it. And of course, last but not least, the shared data services. We asked ourselves what brings value in the end when you manage the data. You have to have a way to find the data easily, to ingest it easily, to provision it, to make the data matter. That doesn't mean we will build these shared services without software from the market, but yeah, we wanted to focus on those and also make use of our, the best practices, like developers that have guidelines, have written guidelines inside ING, or data pipelines, or our own search engine. Regarding the platform, why to choose a hybrid infrastructure for your data platform? In ING, for example, we have our own our ING private cloud. So why to shift towards a hybrid solution? It can be really costly, but yeah, definitely it also brings attractive benefits if you combine public with private and you use them correctly. The public cloud ensures data centers and services distributed over multiple locations. You can also have on-demand resources and pay based on what you consume. You can also offload the maintenance of the infrastructure and networking to the cloud provider. But the private cloud is better when it comes to regulatory compliance. And for ING, well, it counts. And also be in control of the data security, like really the sensitive data to be behind your firewall, is also another aspect why you would prefer a private cloud. And it can also be more configurable. And as I mentioned before, there are attractive benefits if you combine the both. but it's very important to use them correctly. So really try to decouple some of the applications that might be suitable to run in public cloud because they don't have a legacy architecture, for example, and it's not much effort to put it in the cloud, or you don't have that sensitive data to handle. Also, you have the ability to connect and disconnect these applications and run heavy data processing using, for example, only the public cloud resources, or lower the cost for short-term projects. And you have access to a really rich ecosystem of data services. Maybe a link between the hybrid cloud infrastructure and the data fabric. So the data fabric helps you get access to all those services. Yeah, so this is why I said the rich ecosystem of data services. You can still use what you've built in-house if needed. You can make use of the cloud marketplace. And how did we choose the data fabric software? That was, the second, I would say the second biggest problem in ING, how to choose the best data software. So we looked for software to break down data silos, like a platform and of course a set of data services that provides controlled access, unifies data across business units and clouds, provides advanced capabilities to discover or profile or out of the box enrich the data. And we also did a quick scan of our tooling, and this is really important. So be mindful of existing data business and IT landscape. Try to prevent a disruptive change. How we did it? So, for example, we've been working with IBM. We don't only use those technologies from IBM for the data management, but we are also collaborating. So we built a data portfolio together. So in our case, of course, the IBM Cloud Pak for Data was on top of our list. And because we are a bank, data privacy and security was another really important element. We also looked at the data information knowledge wisdom pyramid. I suppose most of you know this pyramid, and we looked again at it in order to understand the what. So what do we need to do in order to get from data to wisdom? So basically you can see there that you need to add context and meaning and insights to reach the top. Sounds simple. But then we also considered the decision-making process. This is another kind of model, the iceberg model. And this is basically to understand the why and the impact. What can you achieve if you only look at events, so something that is visible out there, like facts, measurements? What do you do? What do you achieve if you look a bit downer to the patterns? And if you really want to make sure that you improve your decision-making process, you can also look at the bottom where you have the structures and the mental models. This will definitely make a difference, because the events and patterns will offer you limited outcomes. You need to dig deeper and to understand the data story. I really liked when I heard the first time data story. And if you go that deep and use, for example, mental models and structures to support the decisions, I'm sure you will stay in the game. And finally, we searched for software. So a software to help us climb the pyramid and climb down the iceberg, and we understood the how. How is it possible to do it? This is the IBM's data and AI ladder, which uses the same, or yeah, let's say the same reference system as the pyramid and the iceberg. So it can, yeah, you can easily relate the services or capabilities to each level. It might seem complicated, but it's really easy to follow as well. This is the IBM's data analytics and the AI architecture that explains in depth each layer of the ladder. For example, how data gets collected and consolidated via integration and data virtualization, how it is organized using the knowledge catalogs, the master data management, data refinery, how it is analyzed using the business analytics tools or processes, the machine learning, AI services, and the infused layer. You can see there how data or how insights, because we're already discussing about insights at that level, how it is infused by operationalizing AI and creating a network of instantly available information to power all the business units. So for our data platform, we chose IBM Cloud Pak for Data for its for its data fabric capabilities mainly, because we have data virtualization and AutoSQL, which is a universal query engine and really easy to be used by everyone. The Watson Knowledge Catalog with the data refinery and data classification, the Watson Studio to build, run, manage AI models, the next generation of data stage for data processing, integration, Watson Discovery, and these are just some of the services. They have a really huge ecosystem, and you will see it in a second. Now, let's take a look at the platform directly. I prepared a demo. This is the platform. So now I'm logging in with my account. This is the web interface. Let's first take a look at the service catalog. I mentioned you the rich ecosystem. Well, here it is. You can easily enable, of course you pay per consumption, but you can easily enable all the services from here, whatever you need, you pick and choose. Then under, for example, the data, we have the data, the platform connections. This is really huge. So you can define here a connection that can be used afterwards. This is why it's called data platform connection. And here you have the universal connector architecture. So and they are enhancing it. So you will find whatever connector you need. Now let's do a data request. So let's imagine because I told you I logged in with my user, I wanted information about accounts. I just log in this request. I can put as much information or less information I want. Of course, the more the better, because it can then be easily assigned to a data owner. And now I log in with admin. I didn't have another account, just to showcase. I logged in with admin. And let's say I'm also the data owner. Now I can simply go, if it's not already assigned, I didn't assign it to the admin, I can simply go, check the data requests, and assign to me. So even if it's not assigned directly, you can also have a data steward or US data owner. You can decide if you want to give access to something. And then how do you give access? This is the data virtualization part. You can see the constellation view. Basically, all the databases, Postgres in ING Private Cloud, Microsoft Azure SQL, so everything is connected. And you can simply virtualize. So I search for account as a data owner. I know I have an account data set. I virtualize it, so I don't give you access directly to the data. I virtualize it. I can pick and choose whatever columns or information from that specific data set, and I add it to the data request. Yeah, so if I assign it to the data request, I can also, well, rename it so it makes sense. I don't know, to put a comment or for the user to understand that you have access to certain information only. And now, if you go back to the data requests, you will see that it was delivered. Yeah, nowadays we do it via emails. If we, yeah, I did the same, but this time the same request, the same action in data virtualization, but this time I just virtualize the data for myself and I publish it in a catalog. Yeah, that is the enterprise catalog, so to say. And if I publish it to a catalog that is being governed, it means all the rules, all the data protection rules that are defined for that specific data catalog will be enforced. So if you mask something, for example, will be masked. This is the, we have several catalogs. This is the catalog that I created for the Big Data Week demo. You can see here at assets, you can see our data asset that we virtualized. You can profile it. So you can see, for example, statistics, I don't know, information, some metadata. So the profiling and this auto-discovery is a huge thing. You can see also classifications, yeah? So if it's out of the box using the knowledge accelerator or other tools maybe, it knows if a certain column can be put in a data class, for example. For the identifier, he couldn't do, well, he didn't understand the data. So, and it will tell you, it's 0%. That bar tells you if it's a match or no, or not enough information. Now let's create a data protection rule. And I told you that if we create a data protection rule, you can mask, you can restrict access to the data. And it's very simple. You can see the interface, and any business analyst, someone from governance can create a data protection rule here. You just need to specify if you create it for a data asset column, business term, and you put the logic. But the logic, yeah, is simple. Like, as you can see here, contains balance. And you can choose. You have at least 3 algorithms to choose how to mask the data. And now let's log in with my user to see if we received the data, what can we do with the data that we received, how do we see that something was masked, yeah? Let's take a look. I also have access with my user. I also have access to this catalog. So when I enter and I try to profile the data, it can't profile it. Why? Because it was masked, so it's restricted. Also in the assets, you'll see that it is masked. Now let's go back to data virtualization and do some, well, basic joins. Or basic actions. Let's see what you can do from here. So we have 2 data sets virtualized, and you can easily drag and drop from the interface. Anyone can do it, and do the join. Of course, you can also open the SQL editor and write or run any SQL statement. Then you have a preview, and here it is. A simple join, you can analyze it, you can virtualize it, and then maybe give access to someone else to further use it. And now let's see how we can use there is a projects tab under the panel. I logged in with admin now, and I'll create a new project. It can be a data quality, a transformation, analytics. Let's create an empty project just to, well, to let you understand how easy it is, because they really embedded low-code, no-code interfaces, but you can also write your code. So inside the project, you can choose connections, and you can choose from the platform connections. What I told you in the beginning of the demo, that you define a connection, and then it will be, well, automatically retrieved and further used. You can then choose data assets from those connections. So I decided to work with a couple of tables. I fast-forwarded a little bit because I did 3 times the same thing. But this is how you, okay, so fast-forwarded a little bit. And now we have some data assets that we can further use. I also created a notebook to analyze the data. I imported it from a catalog because this notebook is also an asset. And you can publish this asset, though it's not data, it's a Jupyter notebook. You can publish to a catalog, and then if I have access to the catalog, just take it and use it. And this is the last part is the next generation of data stage, which is an ETL, classical ETL tool, but in haste, I would say, because you see here, hope you have time now, because I know it's speed up a little bit, to see how easy it was to create connections to a Postgres and also a SQL server, and now I drag and drop from the palette to the canvas a join, and just a pick to be able to, to see the information. I didn't want to further use it. Now you just have to go under the stage of join and to select the relation, so the join. You can compile, run, and afterwards in log you can see the output, so the values. Hope it was useful. This is just something that you can do with this platform. So basically, all personas, I think, can use it because you have a lot of services, because, it actually enables all business or engineers to easily use it, to find information, to process it. And in practice, this is, one use case, not necessarily from ING, but it can be one use case where the platform and data fabric could help. So let's see how we can, simplify a complex chain of data decisions like this one. We have a business analyst, for example, from Netherlands, that wants to create a global report. What do we do? So he has maybe to go to a data governance officer to understand if he's allowed to work with that data. Then to go to the data owner and ask for the data to understand if he can, if the data is available, maybe in a data lake or where it is, to see how the data looks like. Then he can also go, or he needs to go to DevOps to understand when the data set will be available. And in the end, if he wants to, to send it back to a local business person, again, how is it possible? How can he manage in a compliant way to do it? And now let's see the same scenario, but this time leveraging data fabric orchestration capabilities. All those time-consuming processes now are automated, using the data policy enforcement and the data usage control optimization. But to get there, I agree, it takes a lot of effort. Nevertheless, we can easily achieve that with the data fabric. So, how is it that a hybrid cloud data platform with a data fabric as its core improves business agility? And if I didn't convince you yet, let's recap. So the data fabric software comes with really cutting-edge technology with intelligent automation and AI-powered capabilities, which means less data movement, less integration, and more time spent on making the data matter. And the end-to-end user experience and the self-service access to data empowers all data users, like we've seen in the demo. And it also, implicitly increases productivity. And this holistic view that can easily adapt and adjust without huge interference, it means you can scale. And you will also be able to improve your data decision process, data-driven decision process, which is also the definition of business agility, yeah? Respond quickly and efficiently to changing needs. So definitely the data fabric is not a quick answer to transform data into wisdom, but it seems to give us the formula, right? And next time we meet, I'll show you our data fabric. We just started this journey. Today we can only imagine how an ING fabric would look like. Thank you, and hope we have some time left for questions. And hope you do have questions. I miss the interaction from the room.